I just finished my second BRRRR project, which stands for Buy, Rehab, Rent, Refinance, and Repeat in Gary, Indiana. And if I got burned on the first one, this time it was absolute perfection. All right, look, I get it. It was a really cheesy pun. I'm sorry. I know you thought I used them all in the last video, but I did save one more. Bear with me. In this video, I'm going to completely break down the entire deal from start to finish. And I'm going to show you how I absolutely violated this deal the entire way through. This deal could be the poster child for the BRRRR strategy, the often lovingly talked about, ever elusive, simple cash recycling real estate deal. But in my case, with this house, it actually was a legitimate grand freaking slam. So if you were hoping to spend 10 minutes listening to a complete stranger on the internet do nothing but pat himself on the back and brag, well, you're in the right place. But first, if you like the video and the transparency with which I always document all of my real estate investing endeavors, bringing you the real numbers, please leave a like, give me an F down in the chats to pay your respects, or an F you because you're jealous you didn't pull this deal off yourself, hater. All right, let's get started. And remember that this will be a numbers intensive video. Bear with me, I am a cop, so feel free to check my math. In fact, I encourage it. You know that I got all C's in high school, so please check the math if you don't think the numbers are right. In June of this year, I released a video titled My First Wholesale Deal. Now, in this video, I laid out the entire plan that I had for this BRRRR strategy property. Now, I made several predictions, and I will put a link to that video in the description down below, so that if you want to compare for accuracy of what I'm claiming my predictions were, then go ahead and check that other video out. So again, back in June, I closed on this property, and it was a 2-bed, 1-bath brick house in Gary, Indiana. Now this little fixer-upper was my first wholesale deal, and it came with a tenant who hadn't paid in months, and a little bonus stolen car in the garage, but a little more on that later. Now it needed landscaping, flooring, ceiling work, a new kitchen, work in the bathroom, work in the basement, and a little heart-to-heart pep talk from your boy Mike about getting the property feeling a little bit better about herself. Now, it was a pretty extensive remodel, not an entire gut job, but definitely more than just a lipstick flip. Now, just like on my Chicago house, I was told that the repairs would probably cost around $10,000. God bless the Midwest for cheap prices. Now again, because I believe in preparing for the worst possible outcomes, I decided to allocate 50% more than the anticipated costs. So I set aside $15,000 just in case. Now as we began repairs, I asked my property manager, who's also a former real estate agent, to advise me on the best use of capital for repairs. I don't want to make a critical mistake and over-repair or remodel the property. It's a rookie mistake a lot of people make. Now, I explained to her that my strategy was to do a cash-out refinance on the back end, and I told her that I only wanted to do improvements and repairs that would add value to the property. She then came back with a $30,000 list of work to do, completely overhauling the deal. Now, I eased her back off the reins a little bit, and we were able to get all of the repairs and improvements completed for $26,000. I was okay with increasing my original estimate of $10,000 to $26,000 because my property manager believed and assured me that we could get an after repair value assessed on the house of around $90,000. So my plan was to be all in at $55,000 and have it appraised at $90,000. So if I had to grade myself on properly estimating repair costs, I can't really say that I failed. It was more like I authorized a major change in the plan partway through to see if it would work out later. And here's a sneak peek. Now, for anybody out there who has done one of these projects before, you know that on top of repairs, there are several other costs that you have. You have holding costs, utilities, debt service on your borrowed money, and technically, if it takes longer to complete the project than you anticipated, you have missed opportunity costs in the missed rent for additional months that you had to take to complete the project. Now, because I have a property manager, they were already billing me the cost of utilities in the same bills that they were doing the fix and flip money to get the project remodeled. But at the end of it, I did still end up owing them another $600, and I also had to make interest-only payments on my HELOC of a total of about $1,500. So it was another $2,100 towards my all-in cost. Last but not least, let's add in the purchase price of the property, which was $31,000 total cost at closing, and that did include the closing costs. Now you'll see that my total all-in amount for the entire project prior to me closing on the cash-out refi was $59,100. Now, if you refer back to my original video, I talked about needing to be all in at under 75% of the estimated ARV, or after repair value, meaning that with an estimated ARV of $90,000, I needed to be less than $67,500 in order to follow that rule. And I'm happy to report that I successfully accomplished that mission. Now, in my original estimate, I was hoping to get a tenant paying between $950 and $1,050 a month in rent on the unit. Now, I'm pretty confident in my estimates in the Gary market because I own a bunch of other rental properties there, but in this case, I was wrong. Now, the tenant I was able to get in there under contract is actually paying $1,250. I got you. You guys fell for that one so hard. Look, my ability to properly estimate rent was a huge success because I always estimate on the conservative side so I can be pleasantly surprised later, and I couldn't be happier. Now, the extra money in rent really came in clutch because when it came time to run my numbers, after I closed on the deal, the Fed decided to break the housing market and jack interest rates through the frickin' roof. So, I had mentioned in my other BRRRR strategy video that I technically did pick the worst time in history to do a BRRRR strategy, since 2007 that is, because interest rates have never risen this high this fast, which means that my monthly payment goes up. Now, initially when I got into this property, I had estimated about 2 months worth of time to remodel the entire property and then get a tenant placed at the beginning of month 3. Now, I was told that repairs would probably take around 1 to 2 months, but I anticipated they would most likely take a little bit longer because of supply chain shortages. Well, that and my general pessimistic attitude I have, where I just naturally assume everyone is lying to me or wrong. Now, from purchase date to the tenant moving in, I closed officially on the property June 29th of 2022, and it took all the way until November of 2022 to get that tenant placed. So it was about 5 months. Once again, my ability to complete a project in the time frame that I planned was a fail. Note to self, in the future, triple estimate your time going forward. Just triple estimate it. That's what I'm going to be doing. Oh, it's going to take 1 month, 6 months later. That's my new plan. All right, so far I've shared with you everything being as transparent as possible so that if you decide to do a BRRRR strategy project yourself, you can have a better understanding of what types of costs, expenses, and time frames that you should be planning for. Now, in my first video about this property, I said that I would save estimating my cash flow and yield for a later date, as it would have mostly just been conjecture at that point. Well, let's dive right into the freaking numbers now because I've been down here swimming in a pool of pride and I want you guys to come swim with me, okay? Here's what you need to pay attention to. The appraisal, the interest rate, and the cashback refinance. These are the biggest factors that play on your BRRRR strategies and whether or not they're going to be successful. Now, as I mentioned in my other BRRRR strategy project video, I've learned that the single most important factor of the BRRRR strategy is getting that after repair value estimate as close to accurate as possible. But in this case, once again, I was freaking off. And I'm talking way off. I was hoping and banking on getting a $90,000 appraisal. And I knew that if it came in a little bit low, I should still be able to get most or all of my money back. But given that rates were rising, I didn't want to create an alligator property. Well, I got an email while at work. I was doing SWAT guy stuff. And when I opened it up, I literally couldn't believe what I saw. This house appraised for $134,000. Now, to say that I was ecstatic, that'd be a little bit of an understatement. I knew that this meant I would be able to get all of my original money back plus extra. So I hastily messaged back and forth with my lender. I was trying to figure out what the new terms would be, given the fact that there was a higher appraisal. What does this mean for me moving forward? I was offered up to $96,000 back in cash, and that was really tempting. I mean, I was all in at $59,000 and they were offering me $96,000 back. That's a $37,000 profit. Now, I thought about it. Hell, I dreamed about it. I wanted to do it. I had plans for the $37,000. Together, we were going to do great things, make some memories, have a family, grow old. I dreamed of an entire life. But then I remembered what Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time had told me a long time ago. He said, never create an alligator property, even if it's from a cash out refinance. Now, for those of you out there who don't know what an alligator property is, it's a property that negatively cash flows. In other words, you don't make money on it each month, you lose money on it each month. Now, taking that $96,000 back would give me a $900 monthly mortgage payment, and it would have been too high of a payment for me to cash flow the property properly. Now, Zuber told me about how he had a great cash flowing property, but then he did a cash out refinance and created an alligator. Shortly after, the market took a nasty downturn, and that property bled him every single month while he had to float it with other real estate. Now, he sold it sometime later, and he vowed never to do it again. I also got similar advice from the lumberjack landlord. So I came to the conclusion that if two 20-year real estate investing veterans with hundreds of units between them were both giving me the same advice, I should probably take it. So I broke up with a $96,000 back idea. I wrote my lender a Dear John letter, and I said things just weren't working out and I needed to see other options. I told my lender that I wanted to take out the maximum amount of money that I could get back while still maintaining a monthly payment of less than $625 a month. Now, Jerry, my broker, did some whiz-bang fancy math and said that the max that I could get back, given my stipulations, was $67,000 with a $623 monthly payment. Now, I tried my best to reach through the phone to give him a hug, but unfortunately I was met with a cold reality that that's not how physics work. Now, I agreed, and I said that I'll take your deal, and we were off to the frickin' races. Now, I locked in a loan of $73,000 at a 7.125% interest rate with monthly payments of $623. That included my taxes and my insurance as I had requested. Now I just had to finish waiting for the 6-month seasoning period to end so that I could close on the deal and wait for my bank account to have a much needed boost to its self-confidence. Now, unfortunately, there was one minor hiccup that happened at the 11th hour. There I was, laying peacefully in the dead of night, when I was attacked. Agents of chaos descended upon me and my deal, and they began to work their shady plans. My lender called me up 2 days before closing, and he stated that there was an issue with the insurance quote. He said that their policy as lenders wouldn't allow for me to have a deductible of $10,000, and that it couldn't be more than 5% of the policy amount. Now, because of this, we had to lower the deductible, which means that the insurance company charges me more each month to insure the house. And that means that my gorgeous, perfect, beautiful, handsome monthly mortgage payment of $623 got bumped up and beaten around by the ugly stick, and now it's $668 a month. Ugh. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering if a $45 monthly payment increase caused me to blow a freaking gasket, lose all my faith in humanity, and freak the flip out. The truth is, I'm more concerned about why you haven't liked the video or subbed to the channel yet for the YouTube algorithm. I mean, I'm peeved about the $45, don't get me wrong, but if you made it this far in the video, help your homie out here. I'm just trying to retire early so I cannot get shot at anymore. Please. All right, look, in all seriousness, the bump in a monthly payment did drop my cash flow on this deal to under the $250 a month standard that I have set for myself in the deals that I do. But I decided to see it through, and if you look at the numbers with me, I think that you'll see why, and maybe you'll agree. Here are the numbers. I take the monthly rent of $1,250 and I take 30% off the top, 10% to the property manager, 20% for vacancies and maintenance. So $1,250 a month times 0.7 is $875. From the $875, I subtract out the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That's the $668. Now I'm left with a profit or positive cash flow of $207 a month. It's good cash flow, but it's not great. Now we multiply that by 12 to get my yearly profit, and I make $2,485 a year. But here's the cool part. In order for me to find or calculate my cash-on-cash return, I need to take my yearly profit and divide it by my all-in cash to acquire the property. Now there's only one problem. There was no cash to acquire this property. I was all in at $59,000, but I just got $67,000 back from the bank. I made $8,000. I have no cash in the deal. There's no denominator for me to divide by. The limit does not exist. So I guess I'm technically getting an infinite return, monthly and yearly, and an $8,000 payout. So even though my monthly cash flow is lower than what I typically aim for, I'm still absolutely thrilled because I'm making money every month and I got paid to buy the house. It was better than free. I got money to buy the house. Now this is the BRRRR strategy poster child deal that you hear about lovingly talked in the halls of your local REI meetups. Look, Mom, I made it. Ladies and gentlemen, one last time, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think, because last time I shared with you a BRRRR strategy property that did not go as planned. This time I shared with you a BRRRR strategy project that also didn't go as planned, but in much better ways. And if you appreciate the brutal honesty with which I share the inner workings of my growing real estate empire with you, please like the video and sub to the channel. Help me push the fake gurus down the algorithm so that you can get better content. I'm doing the work, I'm making the mistakes, I'm learning the game and putting the wins and the losses on the board, not just for your entertainment, but so that you can hopefully do better than me. If you made it this far, I would appreciate that support. Look, 2023 is going to be a huge year for me. I hope it's going to be a huge year for you. I'm partnering with new allies like the Lumberjack Landlord, Dion, Cody and Christian Multifamily Strategy, as well as bringing back the old familiar faces like Michael Zuber and One Rental at a Time. Now, I have come so far in my journey. I have worked my butt off. I've pulled all-nighters. I've looked at thousands of deals. I've worked the overtime. I've made the sacrifices, and I'm right there. I'm right up where I'm supposed to be. I'm on the edge, the precipice of freaking greatness, and I'm gonna blow my portfolio up this year, and I'm gonna show you guys every single step of the way. Now, for those of you who have supported me from the beginning, seriously, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, it really means a lot. And for those of you who are just joining now, partway through my journey, welcome to the experience. Thanks for being here. We've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go, and I'm excited to do this with you guys. Thanks for watching, as always, and I appreciate you guys being here. We'll catch you next time.